Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder how much people really know about depression, and if that knowledge matters? Well, this new study might have some answers. Today, we're diving into a fascinating study about something called depression literacy. Think of it as the knowledge we have about depression, its causes, symptoms, and how to treat it. The big question researchers asked was, do we have a good way to measure this knowledge, and does it actually make a difference for people? They say depression literacy is like a toolbox of knowledge. It helps us spot depression, understand it, and know what to do about it. But right now, there aren't many good tools to check how much people actually know about this. Existing ways to measure it can be time-consuming or don't cover all the important parts of depression literacy. So what did the scientists do? They created a new survey called the Multifaceted Depression Literacy Scale, or M-DL. Their goal was to make a quick and easy way to measure how much someone knows about depression across different areas like its causes, symptoms, treatments, and even what to do in a first aid situation. To build and test this new scale, they used data from 2 big surveys of adult men and women in Germany. This gave them a lot of people to work with, over 10,000 in total. They started with a large pool of questions and then carefully selected the best ones to create their M-DL scale. And here's what they came up with. The M-DL is a short questionnaire with just 14 questions. Each question covers a different aspect of depression knowledge. For example, one question might be about recognizing a symptom, another about a cause or a treatment. They designed it so you can get a score that shows how much you know overall. Now, for the really interesting part, the results and what they mean, they tested their new M-DL scale to see if it actually measured what it was supposed to. They looked at different groups of people. One key finding was that people who work with depression, like healthcare professionals or people who have family members with depression, generally scored higher on the M-DL than those who had no contact with the illness. This makes sense, doesn't it? If you are around depression more, you likely learn more about it. They also checked how their new scale related to how people thought they knew about depression. They asked people how informed they felt about depression. They found a small but real connection. This means that while people who felt they knew more tended to score a bit higher on the M-DL, it wasn't a super strong link. This tells us that what we think we know isn't always the full picture. An objective test like the M-DL gives us a more accurate measure. Perhaps one of the most important findings was how the M-DL related to stigma. They found that people who scored higher on the M-DL, meaning they knew more about depression, tended to have less personal stigma and perceived stigma. This means that having more knowledge about depression can lead to more positive attitudes towards it and those affected by it. This is huge for breaking down the barriers that prevent people from seeking help. So what are the strengths of this new scale? Well, for starters, it is very short, meaning it is easy to use. It also covers more aspects of depression literacy than some older tools. They also found it is good at telling the difference between people with more knowledge and those with less. However, like all research, this study has its limitations. For example, the M-DL didn't include questions about depression prevention, which is an important area. Also, they weren't able to include people who actually have depression in their main analysis due to how the questions were originally set up. This means we need more research to apply this scale to these groups. In conclusion, this research has given us a promising new tool to measure what people know about depression. The M-DL seems to be a valid and reliable way to assess this knowledge. It shows that knowing more about depression can lead to less stigma and potentially encourage more people to seek help. This is super important because if we can help people understand depression better, we can create a more supportive environment. Imagine educational programs and campaigns that use the scale to identify where people need more information. By boosting depression literacy, we can fight stigma and make it easier for anyone struggling to reach out for the help they need. What do I think about this? I think it is a really valuable step forward. Having a quick and accessible way to measure depression literacy is crucial for developing targeted interventions. The link between knowledge and reduced stigma is a powerful reminder that education is a key weapon in our fight against mental health challenges. Future research could definitely explore how the M-DL performs in different cultures and with people who have lived experience of depression. We also need to see if this scale is sensitive enough to measure changes in knowledge after an intervention. So that's our dive into depression literacy. What are your thoughts on this research? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more Science Simplified. Thanks for watching.